The Madison Police Department has faced intense public scrutiny over the last week, and Leah Linscheid joins us with the often overlooked incidents police say they routinely encounter on the job. Leah?
That's right, Danica. We're all aware of Tony Robinson's death and the controversy surrounding it. But what might go unnoticed more often than not are the dozens of potentially deathly situations that officers are able to end peacefully, including one standoff that happened just hours before Tony's death. 3 a.m. and the Madison Police Department receives a call for a West Side domestic disturbance.
Certainly a call that is not at all unusual for us.
No one is immediately alarmed.
It started off as a pretty benign sounding incident.
But that benign incident quickly became a life or death scenario when a man opened fire on officers from inside his home on Gammon Lane.
They did what they're trained to do. Once they exited the residence, they set up in positions of advantage. They used cover and distance to put themselves in a safe position.
Police talked 31-year-old Tommy Evans into walking outside and dropping his gun, and he was arrested without incident. 12 hours later, a Madison officer shot and killed Tony Robinson across town.
So even the best training, tactics, philosophy, you name it, isn't always going to result in a positive outcome.
Captain Vic Wall of the West District says officers can't control every outcome, but more often than not, it is a peaceful one.
Our officers are in situations with a potential for risk to them routinely.
Wall can recall at least half a dozen incidents over the past few months that could have ended in the use of deadly force. Instead, they ended with the alternative.
Frankly, those things don't gain much attention. They really don't drive any sort of narrative. And because of that, I think people don't realize how often they happen.
Wall says it's every officer's intent to end a dispute as positively as possible. And in most cases, like the one on Gammon Lane, they do.
Ultimately, we're reacting to what the suspect does, what the individual does. And the best we can do is rely on our training experience to improve our odds.
Captain Wall says while the majority of those potentially deadly situations end without incident, that can change in an instant. He reiterated that officers are ultimately reacting to how the subject is responding, meaning they don't always have complete control over how every situation ends, but they're prepared for every situation. Officers are required by state law to have hundreds of hours of training before they even put on a uniform, and Danica, another 24 hours of continued training every year.
Interesting stuff and important there. Leah, thank you for that.
You're welcome.